Evening all, just a couple of thoughts that have come to me after watching some stuff this morning. And when I say this morning, I mean stupid o'clock this morning, like 4 AM. Just on the difference between attitudes in America and Britain towards sharks and shark fishing. Now, as a recreational UK shark angler, first of all, it's just totally illegal to bring any sharks into port dead or alive. That's one thing. Secondly, we take, I don't know, non-fishermen won't be able to get their heads around this. You're out there fishing, blah blah blah. How can you be conservation minded? Well, we are. Number one, we provide a little bit of eyes and ears on the sea to see what's going on when there's nobody else about. Secondly, all the sharks we catch, we don't even bring them out of the water. We use circle hooks, barbless circle hooks. Almost always give a nice light lip hook on the shark. This means they can be released in the water. You don't even have to lift their heads out of the water. By the side of the boat, minimum fuss. They're tagged, which helps give information to scientific bodies on growth rates and movements, etc. So you estimate the size, take tag number, information goes off to probably NOAA, I suppose, not quite sure. With the bigger sharks, we use hooks now that are very small, fine in a wire, much about a quarter of the size that we would have used 20 years ago. And if you get a big shark to the boat, you just hold it on the trace. It takes all the stretch out of the system. The only thing that can give then is the hook, and it simply bends straight and the shark's away. So all steps are taken to ensure that the sharks we catch go back alive and fit. If you had a thresher shark, for instance, you'd tow that after it's been caught because they're warm-blooded and they get a build-up of lactic acid. If you tow them, and you have special, same things they use on the tuna now, it's like a big clamp goes on the bottom jaw, and you can tow the shark slowly behind the boat until it recovers. Once it starts to swim, you just hit a button and boom, releases him, off he goes. So every care is taken to ensure that the sharks go back healthy. So whether you understand the ethics or not, that's up to you. I don't care. I'm a shark fisherman and I'm a fisherman, and we put all our fish back now, so deal with it, like it, lump it, whatever. Now, I hear from America, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of sport fishermen in America releasing sharks. Sometimes they just cut the wire. They have got a really nifty device which doesn't seem to be available in the UK for getting circle hooks out, and it takes a second to flick a circle hook out. So yes, there are conservation minded shark fishermen in America, so we're not denigrating anybody for that. But then there are things like out in New York, for instance, they have a Mako competition. I don't know if they still run it, I bet they do. But all the boats go out, they're only interested in Mako sharks. Once you've caught a Mako shark, they shoot it, tie it to the side of the boat, carry on fishing. If they get a bigger one, they shoot that and cut the body of the first one free and let it sink, and tie the second one. And I presume if they catch a bigger one, they do that same process. That seems self-defeating to me. I mean, they're obviously interested in catching Mako sharks, but they're also killing as many as they can possibly manage. And I'm not saying they do this all the year round. Perhaps they only do it once a year or twice a year. I bloody don't know. But it does seem a bit strange and a bit wasteful to me. And I've also heard that in Florida they have competitions or tournaments. Americans like to call things tournaments. Nothing wrong with that. Where the aim is simply to thin out the shark population because they are attacking game fish such as sailfish, marlin, etc. before they get them to the boat, so you end up with a skeleton coming back to the boat. Plenty of videos on that on YouTube if you want to go and have a look. Anyway, it seems they have these tournaments purely to go out there and knock off as many sharks as they possibly can, shooting them, whatever, just to thin them out. That also seems odd, seeing the sharks are the top of the food chain, or almost the top of the food chain, so they have their purpose. There's no point in killing them. If you kill them all, you're going to have consequences. some sort, something that they eat will suddenly become, population will crash. And that's quite simplistic, but generally messing with the food chain, top or bottom, doesn't really work out very well. So I don't know, is it just the way they think? Are they just brought up different to us? Obviously they're American and we're British. They have different laws, of course, so they're bound by different rules, and of course they have a lot of sharks, whereas we don't have a lot of sharks. The shark populations in the UK have bounced back considerably. They were decimated in the 60s and 70s when everybody was killing the sharks and selling them, and that includes anglers, unfortunately. But since then, I mean, it's taken a long time. We're now in 2025, but the shark populations seem to be pretty good, although there are blots on the horizon. For instance, a couple of years ago there was a Spanish boat caught in the Irish Sea with the fins of an estimated 5,000 sharks on board, so that's not exactly good. And the Spanish are, I think, the second worst offenders for shark finning after Mexico. We all think it's China, but China buy them off everybody, so they let everybody else do the finning and the killing, and then they buy the product. So either way, it's not good for the sharks. So I don't know, what do you lot think? I mean, I like our way of doing things, where all the sharks are going to go back, and we do our best to look after them, and that's that. But like I say, we do not have the numbers of sharks, for instance, like you find in Florida, where you can beach fish for 1,000-pound tiger sharks, whereas we basically don't have much in the way of 1,000-pound sharks. I mean, I had one earlier this year, 500-pound. That's a really, really big poor beagle for the UK or anywhere. There was a Mako shark caught on Rob Rennie's boat in the Celtic Deeps a couple of years ago, estimated at 1,100 pound. And you get 6 gills, which are really big but rare, and it's very specialised fishing, so almost nobody's doing that. Apart from that, your best chance of something really big is a thresher, and maybe an interloper. We had those sand tigers washed up, was it 2 years ago? One of those was 4.5, nearly 5 meters long, which is the upper limit size wise for those, but they were off the beaten track by a little bit, maybe 600-700 miles north of where they normally are. So we don't know whether they're actually living here, or whether they just migrated here, or whether they died 500 miles away and drifted here, or indeed were bycatch on a commercial boat and dumped. So nobody knows, but those are our big sharks. I don't know, I still think our method is better, and well, the Americans just look at it different. They're looking at it the way the Brazilians look at the Amazon rainforest. It's limitless, it's huge, there's nothing we can do that's actually going to bother it. But in actual fact, year on year out, it does get bothered, and year on year out, if you're killing sharks, it will have an effect. And there's sod all I can do about it, except put it on YouTube, and hopefully the more enlightened Americans, and there's lots of them, will prevail in the end. But don't forget, we used to have shark competitions here where people killed everything and brought everything in to be weighed and stared at and then dumped. So we're no different, we just got laws now that say you can't. So anyway, that's today's little thought. That's what happens when you're up half the night and then you decide to watch YouTube and go down some sort of weird rabbit hole. Anyway, thanks for watching me witter on in the middle of a field yet again, long way from the sea, disguised as a plant, as somebody once said. And ta-ta for now, and I don't know, next time I go fishing instead.